I pray the Lord my soul to take, that we won't lose faith and we won't lose faith. All we got is us, no one can take that away. So don't lose faith, it's gonna be okay. I pray the Lord my soul to take.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Just Listen to Yourself. I am your host, Kira Davis, and we are at war. Today's episode is not the episode I was planning to record, but when I woke up this morning, I saw yet more news about more Tesla attacks, and I don't know. I think we need to talk about this, everyone. We are in a spot right now where it's such weird times. A lot of us on the right, we're joyous, we're excited, we love everything that the Trump administration is doing. The left is on their heels, they're confused, they're scattered, they're chaotic. And I don't think we've properly been able to drill down on the moment in time that we are in. So I feel moved to do this. I think this is an important exercise for us to go through. I need to talk through this, but I think some of you need me to talk through this too. I don't think enough people realize what's happening here, because when we think about war, we think about Israel and Gaza or World War II, or we think about bloody, violent conflicts. And we don't think of war in America in terms of terrorism. We know what terrorism is. We faced it, but we still don't have that mindset. We're thinking of war as sending soldiers to the front lines to fight a battle. And what I've been saying to you since I wrote my book, Drawing Lines, Why Conservatives Must Begin to Battle Fiercely in the Arena of Ideas, available wherever you find your books. What I told you there is that a lot of conservatives especially want to live peacefully. We want to go to work, support our families, raise our families, enjoy our country, get up and do it all again the next day. We just want to be left alone. But unfortunately, we're not always in a position to just mind our own business. We are not in a time of peace. Those are peacetime actions. We're in a time of war. And whether you want to be or not, when your nation is at war, you're at war too. So we are all in war. These are not peacetime. So in my book, I was admonishing people to pick a lane, get in it, drive in it, stay in it, pick a spot in this battle where you think you can be effective, big or small. 1 hour a week or 100 hours a week, big or small, but pick something that you can do. And I think a lot of people felt like when we elected Trump that we won the war, but we didn't. We just won a battle. I have been hearing people describe these Tesla attacks as unfortunate, as, misguided people who are angry. And I keep hearing commentators, even on Fox News. I was watching Fox News today, and I love Harris Faulkner. Harris girl, please have me on your show just so I can see your shoe game. That woman has the best shoe game in the business. Please, Harris, have me on there and let's do a shoe off. You're going to win, but I would love the chance to battle the queen. Anyway, Harris Faulkner said, this is not how you protest something. And I know what she meant. But I also thought, I keep hearing that type of commentary a lot. And I keep thinking, no, we are misjudging this. We are mischaracterizing this. This is not protesters. This is terrorism. This is war. We are at war. And these people are on the battle, and we don't know we're at war. We don't know it yet. We haven't accepted that communally as a nation. It reminds me of, is it in Revelation? I've always thought of this since I was a child. Revelation, the book of Revelation was the first book of the Bible I read when I was thinking about becoming a Christian. It's what sold me. It's what sold me on Christianity. And, but, John talks about there in the end days, whatever that means. I'm not saying we're in those, but he talks about in the end days, there will be wars and rumors of wars. And I always was curious about the definition of the term rumors of wars. And I understand there's all kinds of exegesis to go with that I don't know about. I don't know the original language and interpretation. But the way my mind processes things is that I thought, well, how could a war be rumored? You're either going to be in a war or you're not. You're either heading to war or you're not. You're either in the war or you're not. And I think one way to look at it is what we're looking at now. Rumors of war, whispers of war, people in a war and not knowing that they're in a war. These aren't protesters that are attacking your Tesla. Some of them are crazy people, but I posit that those crazy people are a part of the war effort. It's not for nothing. They're not accidents. This has been an effort. This will sound conspiratorial, but I think it's logical. This has been an effort over decades and decades to plant these ideas and plant mental instability in our population. And then to program those people, so to speak, I can't think of a better word for it, program those people with hatred. Basically, you're programming. This is why I'm so huge on education. We have to re-educate our voting population. We have to re-educate our patriots. When we let the communists take over the public education system, they began educating their warriors. And that's who is out there in the street blowing up Teslas right now. Right? Some of these people are foreign actors. Some foreign nations are sending their people over here to create and commit acts of terrorism. But a lot of these people are domestic. They're our own people. I don't claim them. They're not like us. But they're our own people because they have been trained and raised for the war that we didn't know was coming. These are attacks. So Trump gets it, and Elon gets it, and and Pam Bondi has been out there saying, we are going to treat this as domestic terrorism. And they should. But here's what I'm saying. You should too. This is not just a war over Tesla and Elon Musk. It is not just a battle for the attention of the media or the attention of the government or a battle for human rights or civil rights. That's not what it is at all. Trump nailed it. When he was going through all of his ridiculous court cases in New York, he said, they're not prosecuting me. They're prosecuting you, America. They're coming for you. I represent you. That's what this is. And he wasn't being that wasn't false humility. He wasn't just giving you a line. He was absolutely right, because the proof is in the pudding. They already had come for us. This war started. It probably started a long time ago. But the opening shot of this current version of the war was COVID. They attacked us. They came for us. They did to us during COVID what they did to Trump, right? They took us to court. They locked us in one spot. They censored our voices, right? So he wasn't being falsely humble. They already were doing that to us. And then when we were finally able to shake them off after far too long, in my opinion, we're finally, though, the American spirit did rise. It's on life support, but it's still there. We were able to shake them off, and they didn't just go into that good, no, we gave it a try. We gave it our best shot, everybody, but the people decided they wanted to be free. No, they regrouped, made new battle plans, and they figured out that the people were so mad that the people might actually rebel. And that's when they went after Trump, because they thought this guy is going to make people bold, and we have to squash him, because if he wins, that means the people have won. Do you understand? He wasn't being falsely humble. He was absolutely right. They were coming for us because they already came for us, and they were going to come for us again if they had won. And Elon said it too. When Trump was running and he decided to support Trump, he said, if Trump doesn't win, I'm going to jail, because Elon represents, again, it's so crazy to me. It's just, how the worm turns. But these billionaires represent the voice of the people. He represents the desire of the people to have control over their own lives, their own voices, their own property, their own ideas. So again, going after Elon, going after these Teslas, blowing up Tesla dealerships, they're not going after Elon, they're going after us. It's a war, and you are the enemy. It's not just that they're mad at Elon. Do you understand? These aren't, again, going back to the idea that these are foot soldiers, these aren't just angry. Some of them are. We have seen those people, like these ladies all look the same, these boomer senior women with short hair, because they just gave up on everything. I guess they got they all have the same short haircut, they all wear the same glasses, and they all dress the same. We see those ladies keying cars or whatever, but those aren't violent women, they're just nasty women. But these car dealerships that are getting blown up, those are acts of war. And the whole point of terrorism is to terrorize. And so the idea is that they terrorize you. You won't want to buy Tesla, because Elon can afford to replace, by the way, none of this affects Elon's bottom line, but whatever. Elon can afford to replace anything of his that gets destroyed, but you can't. If you live here in California where I live, your car insurance it's insane. So to have something happen to your car is going to drive up all of your expenses. And then to even buy cars here in California is crazy. So now people are wondering, well, should I buy a Tesla? Because I just don't want to risk that damage. And again, it's all stuff that adds up to terrorizing the population, from preventing people from acting freely and acting on their own decisions freely. That's what crime in your neighborhood does. It's not an accident that your cities like Chicago and San Francisco and Los Angeles and every major city in America is a complete dump. You're not safe. It smells like pee. There's crime everywhere. People are getting raped, murdered, pillaged all day, every day. We see reports of it. It's not an accident. It's war. This is what I'm trying to tell you. It's war. They are war. The other side, them, the enemy, whoever you want to, progressives, leftists, communists, Marxists, however you want to frame them, they are at war with you. The reason why crime is so high, you can solve crime. You can solve crime. You can solve crime by arresting criminals and prosecuting crime. You can solve it. It's not an impossibility. The reason why there's so much crime in your neighborhoods is terrorism. It terrorizes you. You are afraid to go out. That's why they wanted you to think that COVID was going to kill everybody immediately. Even though that's not at all what the disease turned out to be. The virus turned out to be. Because they wanted to terrorize you. When you are in fear, you are controlled. The more control they take from you, the fewer decisions you make for yourself. The decisions you make for yourself are dangerous for the elites. They can only operate in their sphere if you give them the power to use your resources. They don't have any resources of their own. That's why they're at war with us. They're coming to take ours. We are at war. We are at war. All right, let's take a break. And when we come back, I will get into this a little bit. All right, we're back. I've been talking about how we are at war, and I think we need to think through this. I've been talking about the Tesla attacks and how that is that's terrorism. It's definitely domestic terrorism. The Trump administration is right to treat it as such, but we need to treat it as such as well. And I think that just because we won doesn't mean that we won. I've been having a really great time watching the left melt down, watching them be so confused, watching Trump win victory after victory. But we are only in month 3, and he's going to get tired, and Congress is going to get tired, and we're going to get tired. So we need to understand what is happening here. We didn't fix things. We didn't win. We didn't end anything. We just got ourselves in a position to be able to fix things. It behooves us to pay attention to the moment in time that we're in. These are not peace times. We won in November, but these are not times of peace. The war is only going to get worse because they were in charge. They were winning. And so they could placate us with some little victories here and there. Or, I've been thinking so much, but I cannot stop thinking about this actually. Elon said to Joe Rogan last month or the month before, I don't know. He was there giving a Doge report, and he told Joe Rogan, what we are about to see is we're about to reveal the code of the Matrix. We are about to find out what Doge is uncovering is about to uncover the Truman Show. And I think a lot of people thought that he was being metaphorical because he's, on the spectrum or whatever. But because he's on the spectrum, I find Elon to be quite literal. I do. I'm in the metaphorical sense of the word. I think we should take him more seriously than we do when he speaks like that. And I have been thinking nonstop about what he means when he says the Truman Show. And we've seen a little bit of it with this USAID stuff, how our tax dollars have been funding the very things we're fighting against. One of the things that we saw in there and we have seen is this EPA, these green energy grants that have basically been going into the pockets of activists like Stacey Abrams from Georgia and other progressive Democrat activists. We have been funding with our taxpayer dollars the very people who are running to win positions of power that keep us controlled and locked in our homes and away from our businesses and do the things that dismantle the mechanisms of success in the society. We're funding that. That's what Elon means. I think what he is going, and with the JFK stuff, what we're going to find out about the CIA, this is what I think is coming in the next 4 years. This progressive, extreme progressive left-wing movement in our country is not organic at all, and we've been funding it. We have been funding our own war against us. That's what we're going to find out, and we're going to find out that we're in the majority. And this has all been a Truman Show. This has all been a shell game. I think that's what we're going to find out. And that's why they're at war. We're not talking about these people losing their jobs or their pensions. We're talking about some pretty elite global leaders losing one of the most powerful nations on earth. This is war. And it's everywhere. It's at every level. It is not just at the federal level. It's right where you live. I was talking to a member of my school board yesterday. Had a little bit of controversy going on in our school district. Per usual. It doesn't change. And so I was chatting with her, and she's a lovely woman. I love her so much. She's very kind, very sweet, the kind of woman you would want running education in your community. Loves kids, loves educating kids. But she's nice, right? She is a house cat. Again, the kind of person you want teaching and guiding your kids. The kind of person that you're going to put in the middle of a gladiator arena? No. And I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. I think she would say the same thing. That's not what she ran for. It's not what she wants. She wants to educate kids. But we were talking about the union efforts to recall all the conservative school board members across California. It's a concerted effort. It's now their playbook. And I'll expect some more dropping this summer. And I told her, look, there's nothing you can do. Those are coming. But you have to understand that this is a battle. These people are not going to give up because this is a war and you're in it now. And this is how we have to treat it. If you're sitting on a school board, I know you don't want to be combative. I know you don't, especially those of us who are Christians, it doesn't jibe with a lot of what we're taught in the church pews. But there's a lot of war in the Bible, everyone. There are a lot of battles in the Bible, and there are a lot of vicious murders in the Bible. Just listening to the book of Judges today. And in that book, murder is described. Joshua took the blade and sunk it into the belly, and the fat covered it. And just these things, yes, blood, battle, viciousness, it's all part of kingdom movement, for lack of a better term. It's all part of history. Even God's history, it's all part of it. So if you're sitting on a school board and you're going, I don't want to be combative. This is a community position. I don't want to invite negativity. That's not for you to decide. You're in a war. You're in a war. So you need to arm yourself. And we need to be looking at everything as a battle because they are at war with us. They're coming for your school board. Do you know what's going on in your school board? I mean, I don't expect everyone to be interested in it, but I guarantee if you even looked, you'd be shocked. You'd be shocked. You go look back. I know it seems salacious and nothing you'd be interested in, but go look at that episode the interview I did with Madison Miner about what's going on in Orange Unified School District. It's crazy. Threesomes, swingers, affairs, lobbying, taxpayers. Like, it's insane. And it's going on in this sleepy little suburban Orange County school board. I guarantee you there's messiness going on where you are. And the unions and the progressives and the Marxist elitists have depended on you not caring for a long time. That's how they've been running this war as a rumor. Where else are we fighting the war? With the media? We're fighting Trump, rightly so. has identified the media as our enemy, and they are. Because part of war, let's talk a little bit about what happens during war so you can understand exactly, like, frame what's going on around you. We are at war. Listen to what happens during war. What does wartime look like? Wartime looks like rationing. So we've had to ration gas, we've had to ration eggs. We are now in a time where we're looking at coming out of those things and learning how to make that stuff here. But that's what we've been, and we've been rationing. America has been shrinking. The America that I came to as a child was growing, and opportunity was growing, and what you had to leave your kids, that was building generation after generation. The America that my kids were born into has been receding. It's been shrinking. So I do believe we're getting to a growing process again, but that rationing, that shrinking, that's wartime footing. Economic realignment, that is a symptom of war. So we saw that happen during World War II, where that's when America became a manufacturing titan, because we couldn't depend on other nations for goods. We needed to manufacture here. We couldn't ship goods safely. We couldn't get goods across the sea safely. And so we had to manufacture here, and we had to ramp up quickly. And we did, and it created this huge booming economy that gave us decades of prosperity, and unfortunately the baby boomer culture. But that is what, and then we had a bunch of spoiled hippie baby boomers who then gave us what we have now. But that, we saw economic realignment, and that's what we're seeing here as well. You're looking at Trump as a businessman, but he is also a wartime leader, everybody. It's not for nothing that people like Sylvester Stallone compared him to George Washington. If you've never read George Washington's biography, I highly suggest it. You're going to see, I'm not being a MAGA like cultist. I swear to you, I am being perfectly reasonable here. This is a reasonable comparison to make. If you read it, there are parallels there, and obviously it's metaphorical parallels. It's not the same kind of war, but this is what I'm trying to get you to see, that just because it's not a war with guns and blood flowing in the streets doesn't mean that it's not a war, and you don't need to be paying attention, and you're not involved. You are. We're all involved. So Trump is on a war footing. He's not just bringing business to America. He's not just bringing back business through this tariff plan, but he's putting our economy on a war footing. We have to be able to produce our own energy. We can't depend on our enemies for it. They cut us off during war, we're screwed. We have to be able to manufacture our own parts for the new types of war that we'll be in, like cyber war. In World War II, it was bomb parts, it was ship parts, it was ship manufacturing. By the way, Trump bringing back ship manufacturing so we can build our own warships here. We are in the middle of an economic realignment. What you saw during the Biden and Obama administrations was economic realignment to our enemies. War. Our enemies were winning those battles. War. What also happens in wartime? Spies. We have spies and foreign agents in our government right now. We have them in our universities. We have plans. We know that Eric Swalwell, he's a congressman. He was involved with a Chinese spy. If he was involved with one, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. We have Chinese spies in our school board system. And their goal is to throw monkey wrenches into the mechanisms of our education system. We have funded by the Chinese government, not making it up. I don't know. I was going to say it sounds crazy, but I don't even know why it sounds crazy anymore. That border is wide open, right? Easy access. Oh, yeah. Spies. So we see a lot of spies. We see that guy that they just deported for leading those campus protests. He technically, I think, could be classified as a spy. I know a lot of people are trying to frame this as a free speech case, but it's not. He was actually creating violent uprisings and creating violent attacks. He was actually planning those. And he was also brokering an information. This is what Hunter Biden was probably doing as well. So we see spies. That happens during wartime. We also see culture shifts during wartime. During Obama and Biden, we saw the culture shift to the left. Again, I think we're going to find out that was all manufactured, all inorganic, all funded by our enemies. All a battle, all a battlefront, that they were winning the whole time we were thinking we were just in a culture war. No, we were in a war. So now we're seeing a cultural realignment. That snapped back pretty fast. I think how quickly the culture snapped back is a sign of how inorganic that left wing movement is. I don't think they're the majority here. I don't even think they're close to it. I don't even think we're close to it, because you're seeing, right? And you know how we're joking, like, well, we're all right wingers now. It's like, as soon as you step off the left wing reservation, they turn you into a right wing nut job. No, actually, we're not all right wingers. Some of us, like me, are right wing nut jobs, but we're all reasonable people. I think that's what it is. No, we're basically all center and center right. And then there's a few fringe people who managed to wrestle wrestle power and influence and abuse us with it. And they used our money to do that, because that's the only way that you can beat the American spirit, is through heavily funded efforts. That's why the unions are so funded, and they always fight getting defunded, right? They don't have ideas, and they don't have normies, for lack of a better term, on their side. So what they have to have is money and censorship. And that's what's been happening. So the reason why it seemed like everything shifted overnight with that Trump win is because the real America was sitting here waiting to be heard, waiting for the opportunity. There aren't a lot of them. I think we're going to be shocked to find out actually how few of them there are. I know a lot of us are coming to the realization that normies are in the majority, but I think we're going to be shocked to find out how few people have been terrorizing us and holding us hostage this whole time. It's a war. You're at war in your office. You're at war in your community, at your city council meetings, at your school board. I know you don't want to be, but you are. This was never, ever about the thing they promised it was about. It never was. It's only about control. That's why we talk about it so much on this show. That's why on this show, I like to talk through ideas, why you believe what you believe, because there are normies, regular people out there who are getting swept up in this, of course, right? I just watched a video of a guy walking past a Tesla in Seattle today who's obviously some left-wing, progressive social justice warrior, not Antifa crazy, but he just hit this Tesla as he walked by. That's just a normal guy who's full of rage. And those people are out there, but they're not us. And there's not that many of them. That's what I think. There's not that many of them. And I know a lot of you are going, well, Kira, college is crazy. And college is crazy. Again, the communists have taken over our education institutes, and they've been educating their soldiers for the battle. So they try. All right, now let me regroup. You know what? Let's go to a break. Let me regroup, because I'm starting to go off on tangents in my mind, and I don't want to have to do a lot of editing in this podcast. So let's go to a break, and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I want to keep pulling on this thread of their battle plans and how we have been in these battles. And I think a lot of us have been fooling ourselves that, it's happening to Trump or it's happening to the federal government. And we can kind of now sit back and let Trump take care of everything. No, everyone's in the war. It's all around us. And the only way to get back to peace is to win. So we're going to have to, I know you don't want to hear it. This is what I was telling my friend on the school board. You're going to have to get mean. Because war is hell. You're going to have to get mean because these people hate you. You're going to have to get mean. So I want to further pull on this thread of all of these different battles that are happening. So when they didn't win the COVID war the way they wanted to, I think they had a lot of good victories. So then it appeared that then Trump came back. We didn't put Trump down the first time. So then he became the battle plan, right? Then they had to do, okay, we've got the court cases, we've got the impeachments, we've got the all-out media assault, they did everything they could to make sure that he was never going to be president because they knew that would be trouble. That would be a victory. That would be a D-Day victory. And that was where the battle was, in the courtroom in Georgia. Think about how focused we were on Georgia for however many months, and Bonnie Willis, and now you don't hear nothing about that woman. I get Stephen A. Smith came for, by the way, he's shifted to the right. I'm still waiting for my apology, Stephen A. Smith. You called me out my name because I told the truth about Bonnie Willis and who she was and how someone that stupid, that retarded, got to a position that she was in. And you were too stupid, Stephen, to even recognize that she got set up. You weren't looking out for your girl. Anyway, now he's all moving to the right because he's seen the writing on the wall. But I don't have my apology for how rudely he framed what I was saying, which is basically what he's out there saying now. So, Stephen, you can my DMs are open if you want to apologize for that. Anyway, it's just incredible how that all went away, right? Because it was never real. That's how you know things aren't real. If they dissipate quickly after a loss, it was never a real battle. It was never a real battle. That's why it looks like things shifted so quickly overnight, because a lot of left-wing causes dissipated because they were never real. That's why the battle against Elon Musk and Tesla is taking on this violent nature. Environmentalism was never real. It's not a real thing. It's just about control. The media is our enemy. Trump has been right to designate them. Because let's talk about, this is where I started this thought. Another aspect of war is propaganda. Propaganda is a huge part of any war. If you want to go back to traditional war days, where our government would drop flyers on the Japanese and in Germany and just giving people news and information that they wouldn't get otherwise, or even making up news and information to sway the mood of the electorate, because the mood of the people matters for what your leaders can and what they have the will to do. Just look at the Vietnam War. We could have won that war, and we should have won that war, but the media propaganda changed the mood of the American people, and we didn't have the stomach for it, and so then our leaders didn't either. So propaganda is a huge part of that, and we're seeing the media has been a propaganda broker for decades now, but it's really ramped up in the last 10 years in a way that is treasonous. I think treasonous. I do. Trump is not wrong. They are an enemy, because when the institution that is supposed to give you information literally lies to you and then tells you that they're not going to show you all the information because you're not smart enough to interpret it correctly, it's an enemy. It's one thing for Fox News. I wish the liberals don't do this, but they should. Or CNN to say, hey, we're giving you bias information. This is our point of view. We're conservatives, we're liberals. You're getting bias information. But it's quite another to just say, we're out and out lying for the purposes of our ideology. They lied for 4 years about Joe Biden's mental health, called us liars for calling it out. And now they're writing books about how the Democrat Party lied to them about Joe Biden's mental health. The media is the mainstream or legacy media, corporate media is our enemy. They absolutely are. They are part of the propaganda machine. We are at war. And conservatives are just starting to get good at it. And that's what liberals are seeing and what they don't like. Yeah, we're also getting good at just in the creative space, period. But we're also getting good at propaganda and learning how to propagandize our messaging. And that is an effective battle plan. That is an effective battle tactic. It's been used forever. We have rogue judges. The judges have been activated. So these are soldiers. They're not judges. They're soldiers. They're firing shots at the American people. Again, it's not at Trump. It's not about Trump. Trump is right. Yeah, we call it TDS. It's not about Trump. It's about you. It's about the American people. It's about our freedom. We are a problem for the rest of the world. If America wasn't here, the rest of the world will fall to all this other bullshit. We're a problem. They're always going to come for us. Just Trump is the one standing in the way right now. And sometimes we don't have the privilege of having one man stand in between us and these forces. Sometimes we, the people, have to organize and do it ourselves. And so I do believe we are still in that time. Trump needs us to back him because he only has 4 years. He doesn't have 8. And we don't, so he's got to move fast and furious, and so do we. That means if you're sitting on a school board and you're pussyfooting around because you don't want to, make any controversy or make anyone nervous, no, you've got 4 years to do what you need to do before the enemy regroups and comes back. So entrench your position, fortify your position. If you're sitting on a city council now, don't just think you won and now you can sit back. No, you need to be grooming the next crew of city council members who are going to replace you when you're ready to retire. This has got to be a decades-long battle plan. And you've got to go balls to the wall, fast and furious right now, wherever you are. Now is not the time. If you see people moving their positions a little bit, now is not the time to relax. It's the time to double down. And I know that makes you uncomfortable because you want to be in a time of peace. That cliche, peace through strength, is not just for our leaders. It is for you too. Families break up. That's another symptom of war. You guys have heard my story about my mother, and we're just totally estranged now. She has just totally cut us off. She has not made one phone call. She has not sent a text message. She has done nothing to reach out to my family. And the thing is that I'm not telling you that because I feel badly about it. These are all her choices. I'm telling you that because I have received 1,000 stories like it. I am not unique in any way. And that makes me sad, not for myself, because again, I'm an adult and I can handle this. And this is about, for her, this is about a lot more than that one guy. But that makes me sad for our country. You're at war, and this is what war does. Read about what the Civil War did to our country. It tore families apart, brother from brother, sister from sister, mother from son. The American Revolution did the same thing. People on polar opposite sides, and so passionately dug into their positions that it destroyed their families. That's where we are now. I have messages in my inbox right now from men who have said, my wife left me because I voted for Trump. My son told me I can't come see the grandkids anymore because I voted for Trump. Like, it's not one, it's not two, it's not even 100. It's thousands. I'm going to write a book about it. I'm going to compile it in something and write a book about it because I understand. And I know a lot of you are going, well, Kira, if somebody could do that, it's about a lot more than that. Yes, of course. You're absolutely right. I do think that's a topic that needs to be explored too, as well. How do you get to be a society that could so easily just cut off their own family members for political ideology? How do we get there? That's a whole other episode, right? And definitely that's an episode where we got to go to church. Because that's a Jesus question. That is not a political question. Now, let's see. What else do I want to talk about? We've got the deep state, right? These people. So, for example, when they want to close down the DEI stuff, and they're finding that it's hard. It's not just as easy as the stroke of a pen. You have people who are entrenched in their positions. They're running departments. It can change. And there's tens of thousands of people in the federal government. There's a lot of people to oversee. So they can change the names of departments. They can hide payments. They can hide contracts. All of that stuff is being done. Or what they'll do, like they did at the Department of Defense, which is they take down programs that they know or are going to cause a public fuss. Like they took the Tuskegee Airmen tribute off of the website. Now, no one was asked to do that. It was for no reason, but that was deep state soldiers, right, executing an attack. X also suffered a cyber attack, and Elon said we get them every day. And these aren't just fun computer kids with nothing to do in their mom's basement. These are foreign entities doing this. Foreign nations doing this. So I hate that, at the risk of sounding redundant, We are at war. So if you are looking at the news and you're going, I can't believe how crazy everything is. I can't believe these people. Every day my husband comes home from work and he goes, what I missed today? And then he rolls his eyes at the people we see on TV complaining and crying and destroying things and burning things. These Hamas protesters, all those people need to be deported. If you are here on a student visa and you're at one of those protests, I don't even care about your free speech. You need to be deported because you're a soldier. You are not some student just trying to earn a better life. We need to start looking at this differently, everybody. These are soldiers. They are not free, normal citizens. They are soldiers without uniforms. And that's why terrorism is so hard to fight. Because when a soldier wears a uniform, you can identify that person and you can say, that is the enemy. That's the person that I need to subdue. But when somebody is not in a uniform, but they do kind of have a uniform, don't they? Those stupid keffir scarves or whatever the hell they are, and masks, that is kind of their uniform. The blue hair, that's their uniform. So they do kind of have a uniform, even if they don't think they do. So again, just thinking about my friend, and I think she's representative of a lot of people out there who wanted to run to make a difference, but thought, they could make a difference through kindness and peace and community and working together. And there are times for that. I talk about that in my book. There are times. I think I quote Ecclesiastes from the beginning. There's a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. Now it's the time for war.